who we are going after, Perk. That is a threshold question, Perk. I say it is a limit on the power of the assessor, Perk, when you look at the nullity exception, Ka, and it really is focused on what are void assessments, Quex, what are assessments that are void, Ka, which means it raises no issue of valuation or any of the other matters that have been expressly granted over to the Assessment Appeals Court for the change in ownership, Perk. So you are looking at the initial one about ownership, and you now have the question of the limits of the jurisdiction of the local boards, Perk. They work together, Perk. All of these intricate parts have to work together on what is admittedly a very confusing, at times, set of statutes and property tax rules, Perk spec. Can I direct your attention to specifically, Dosh, there are two provisions of the code, and they seem to contemplate that the board, even though sort of traditionally we haven't thought their expertise as non-valuation issues, there are at least a few provisions that specifically contemplate the board will decide some evaluation issues, namely 5154 BMAC and section 1610.8 Perk. So can you give us your view of how these provisions fit into the overall scheme, Quex? When, Dosh, under what circumstances would the board decide non-valuation questions if you are correct that the taxpayer has an obligation to bring those questions before the board members? Perk spec, I think those contemplate that things that go before the board, because